Johnny woke with an ache in his head. Bad dreams had made him ill, and he grumbled as he dressed, despite his duress, as he made his way to the mill. Well, he never wanted to work that day, but the foreman had made himself clear. So Johnny dreamed of the eve to come, when he'd drink him beer after beer, singing, I'll drink from dusk till dawn, I'll drink until this day's end. Yes, I'll drink from dusk till dawn, I'll drink to the health of me friends.
This is the Bears Barroom Radio Network. The following program is recorded live and intended for all audiences.
Radio is scripted now. We just come up with it. We don't use computers. We don't rehearse. We're going to talk about this next. We're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about the Bulls. And then we're going to have Brad Bigson. And then we're going to have all this. No. If you don't know what you're going to talk about in the top of your head before a show, you shouldn't be in the business. I don't know what you got. I feel like Vince Vaughn in a couple's retreat. The Sharks are circling. Old school, baby!
You're listening to the Mike North Advantage, and it begins right now.
That's right. The Mike North Advantage starts right now. Happy Sunday morning. I am Aldo Gandia, Mike's wingman. We got plenty to talk about. It's March Madness time. What basketball games we had yesterday. And how about the Bulls? Still losing games, but showing some bond between players and coach. We'll explain. Let's also get his take, the first Bears Barroom take on the Bears signing of Clinton Dix. We got Mike's picks too, so let's get to it. Mike North, how are you, my friend?
Well, I was good till you played that Irish music. You never let a Puerto Rican pick Irish music, first of all. Never. You never do that. I have rope burns now on my neck, but I'm going to try to get through it. But here, I'm going to just tell everybody this. Happy St. Patrick's Day. To everybody out there, everybody's Irish today. I know I'm half Irish until I take my DNA test or whatever the hell they call that. Then I'll probably find out that I'm from Slovenia or something, or Transylvania. But I got to tell you, Irish music stinks. I used to drink quite frequently, and I used to hit all the bars, especially on the north side. I knew Irish guys, a bunch of them. Yeah, do I have to hear that again? This is suicide music, this thing here. Irish music stinks, and when St. Patrick's Day came, I dreaded it. Because I'd go to all my favorite haunts, and all the guys that you think you know are dressed like leprechauns, jumping around to music that they would never listen to any other time. Ever. So, all I'm going to tell everybody is, I went back to the parade back in the days, Aldo, in the 60s, where a cop would say to you, hey, kid, how old are you? 14, and he'd hand you, here's a glass of beer, and then you'd move on. Now the parade's not even on the day it's supposed to be. You don't know where the parades are at. But I will say this about the great city of Chicago, Aldo.
Uh-huh.
That river, dyeing the river green, is as beautiful a picture. Barry Butler, who's the best Chicago photographer, the guy that shoots just views of the city, he's got one out on Twitter now. And I'm going to tell you something right now. It's a 50-some year tradition. Only we do it. And I'll tell you, the dyeing of the river green, I would like to see that permanent. It's beautiful, but for St. Patrick's Day and St. Patrick's Day weekend, it's beautiful.
Who came up with that first? 56 years ago, who was mayor? That had to be the original Mayor Daley, the first, the great boss. So
yeah, I mean, the first guy would have painted all the buildings green if he could have. You know, like High Plains Drifter, when they paint all the buildings red, he would have painted them all green. That's how Irish he was. I mean, he was stone cold Irish. I mean, to the point where he was in the Hamburg Club. There were a lot of Irishmen, grew up in Bridgeport. If you ever read the book Boss, read the book Boss, done by Mike Royko.
Yeah.
And you'll find out exactly the roots of the first Mayor Daley, who, in my opinion, is one of the top 5 politicians of all time. And you just look at the city of Chicago.
Yes,
he had that vision, and it's been carried on by everybody else.
Yeah, the great original Mayor Daley, and that book, that book Boss by Mike Royko. What a read that is. Just incredible.
He never wrote another one, right, Royko?
I don't think so. There may have been like a collection of his columns from the newspapers he wrote, but never a full-length book like that.
You know what's funny? I read them. I was never enamored.
No?
Never. I read Boss, though, and it was great.
Yeah.
No, I just said, okay, But I was like 12, you're 12, 13, 14. You know, it was a read more for adults.
Yes.
But I was into politics and stuff, and I know he had his battles, of course, with Mayor Daley, and he was the guy that was taken in Continental Divide. John Belushi played his character with a beautiful Blair Brown. You can't see enough of her, and she's in her 70s now.
Right.
If you want to take a look at Blair Brown, ladies and gentlemen,
yes.
Back then with Continental Divide. But he never did another book. I just think, he had fun doing other things. He liked imbibe, liked to play softball, sort of like me. So, you know what? Or I was sort of like him. So, in a way, I didn't get him, but you know what? I don't deny him his place.
Joe Mandel in the chat room reminds us that hearts, stars, and horseshoes, clovers, and balloons. Oh, these are songs. I thought it were Royco books.
What is wrong with you? I don't need anybody with my look, St. Patrick's Day. We used to cut school, take the L. We used to cut school, take the L in 7th grade. Okay, 7th, 8th grade.
Right.
Go down to the parade. We'd go to the Golden Nugget, pancake house, eat, have some fun, hang out, cut school, come home a little half in the bag. Figure, if we found a beer on the curb, we'd pick it up. You know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
I mean, we didn't have a whole lot of money. I mean, I don't think anybody, did anything to it. They just put the beer down. So, that's it.
Yeah, that's right. So once in a while you find a cigarette butt, but,
I never heard of a glass of beer killing anybody, no matter what was in it.
That's right. Well, I was the type of kid that I'd walk around after my parents threw a party and I, take a look at what's inside that can of beer. Maybe I'll take a little swig of this.
Oh, yeah. I drank my dad, he'd have his scotch and water. I mean, I'm 12 years old. He leaves his scotch and water from the night before. Yeah, but you take a little shot before you go to school.
Yeah. Jeepers. Hey,
I'm just saying.
If it gets you through the day, why not?
Believe me, morphine couldn't gotten me through the day when I was going to school.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you weren't big on the school books, were you?
No, I get to school and I go, what time we done?
Were you always like looking out the window and the teacher have you
Oh, my God, I'd look out the window. And especially when I went to Sen, because Ridge Avenue, if you know where Sen High School is, it's by a busy street, Ridge Avenue. Sometimes I'd look out the window. I had 2 credits. I was supposed to be a senior. I was never going to get out of school. I'd look out the window and go, I wonder where all these people are going because I wish I was with one of them. Believe me.
Yeah, I know the feeling. I actually attended a semester at Sen, so beautiful, big, huge building, and I didn't do
Looks like Dick Biondi called it the penitentiary. Oh, no, back in the 60s, he'd bring, hey, everybody here from Foreman High School, and we're at the sock hop here, or we got people from, Mendel Catholic here today. We heard from so-and-so. How about Sen High School? Hey, how about place looks like a penitentiary?
It sort of did, actually.
The great Dick Biondi.
Oh, that is awesome. All right, should we talk a little sports? Because I want to get to the whole basketball stuff in a little while. I want to get some stuff out of the way first. First of all,
go ahead, pal.
I want to get your thoughts on Johnny Manziel with Mike Singletary in the American Alliance Football League. It was announced yesterday that the quarterback, the troubled quarterback, will be now playing under Mike Singletary. You would think, right, that if anybody can resurrect this guy's career, is Mike Singletary with a good boot to the booty, right?
Well, if anybody could end up killing him, it's Mike Singletary.
There you go.
I mean, that's basically what we're talking here. Look, they're both hanging by a thread.
Yeah, they are.
I love Mike. I ended up working with Mike at Fox back in the day when we were winning our Emmy Awards, and they actually did, a great bear show, an hour with Ditka, Jiggets, Fensick, Eric Kramer, all the guys, Derek Horton. Great show. And Singletary, I never warmed up to him. No. And he never warmed up to me, but we were cordial. Mm-hmm. But you know what? He didn't get me, and I know he had that image. Mm-hmm. Very, very solid, never loose, very tight, but you can't deny he was a good middle linebacker. Oh. I don't think he was as great as people think he was. Yeah. I think the other 2 linebackers were better than him, but he was a leader. He was Buddy Ryan's eyes and ears, and that cannot be denied. But if Hampton and McMichael or the Fridge aren't in the middle there to protect him, he's destroyed. Yeah. He's destroyed. if you know the game back then.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't think anybody will deny
But
that.
I think that Johnny, if anybody burned me, I usually have gut instincts on people. I was completely wrong about this kid.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was going to be all that. It wasn't a mirage. He went to Alabama, got it done. There's no reason he can't be where Deshaun Watson is except for discipline on his own.
Yeah.
He's to blame for most of the stuff that happened to him. He got caught up in the partying. Believe me when I tell you this, I'm never going to condemn any guy that gets caught up in that atmosphere. There's things that he did, though, I would never do. You know? I mean, the cocaine, allegedly, stuff like that, I never. So,
I'll tell you one thing. Excuse me for interrupting. You were so devout about no matter what you did the night before, you were there on time and ready to perform, and Johnny never, couldn't do that.
Well, it made me mad when he didn't show up to the Peyton camp on time.
Mm-hmm.
When he overslept and left his alarm.
Right.
To me, when he was in college, and that was I should have looked at it then.
Right.
But I said, okay, it can happen. He's partying. He's a young kid. But this is like he kept rolling.
Mm-hmm.
He kept rolling, like a lot of us do when we're that age.
Right.
Only we're not being paid millions of dollars to be leaders of a football club.
Right. Yeah,
and that's true. Where he let me down. I think he let himself down, and now look at him. He's Mountain Rivera as the wrestler in Requiem for a Heavyweight.
Oh, my gosh.
With the Indian headdress. He's the guy in the Indian headdress. He was Johnny Manziel. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care if he makes it back or not. He's basically, he's the basement guy. He's in the basement. So he's got to figure out a way to get back up. But I'm not going to hold my breath.
The Harder They Fall reference, a 1950s boxing movie with Humphrey Bogart playing a public relations man trying to build up the image of this big, huge boxer who cannot...
No, but that's not it.
Okay.
Requiem for a Heavyweight was what I was talking about.
I got it wrong.
Quinn.
You're absolutely right. My brain was short-circuited there. Requiem for a Heavyweight, of course.
He put on the headdress at the end. He's a wrestler, just like Jim Thorpe.
Yes.
Jim Thorpe was a carnival barker. I mean, you know what? A lot of bigger men than Johnny Manziel have fallen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the picture you're talking about there, it's been done a couple of times. Jack Palance played the lead. Anthony Quinn played the lead. Yeah, absolutely. I like the reference.
Jackie Gleason was in it, and Mickey Rooney.
Yes.
That's what made it. Jackie Gleason plays Mage. Mickey Rooney plays Army, who's his trainer. Gleason's his manager. He sells them out.
Absolutely. Good reference there. And just to put a button on this
what
thing.
I do, Aldo, I'm sort of like all over the board, you know?
The show is all over the board.
I think we're rather happy for this time, for Sunday and for the time switch.
Absolutely. You know what? On Sunday mornings, I'm usually going to bed around this time, so this is fun to have a few hours sleep on the
Well, that disturbs me that you said that. I don't know what you're doing all night, you know, if you're with the Rat Pack or whatever you do. But I will also say that because of my ESPN gig, and by the way, 4-0 on ESPN, the first two shows. I mean, and then I picked. Really, I was 3-0. Carmen had a down day, but you know what? He'll come back. He had a good first week. We're doing very, very well. Numbers are doing well. Everything's doing well. They seem to be very happy right now. So, you know me. If the shows were good, which they are, but I went 0-4, I wouldn't give a damn.
Yeah.
I got to win. And that's what I tried to. That's what I not only tried to sell them. That's what I told them I would do, and I'm doing it. And you know, it started all here with Bears Barroom, and right now we're 8-4 since the NFL season with my college and pro NBA picks. So we're doing well.
You are awesome, Mike North. It's a cash station.
We're doing good. It's St. Patrick's Day. God love ya, Aldo Gandia.
I love it. All right, let's switch topics now. I wanted to get through this Chicago Bulls thing. They continue to lose. I think they've lost now 4 in a row. But the other night, something interesting happened. Bulls head coach Jim Boylan came to the rescue of his teams when he noticed that the L.A. Clippers were throwing what he thought were illegal picks. They were certainly really hard picks. One of the players got injury, and Boylan started yelling at Doc Rivers, telling him that, you know, your guys are playing dirty, or words to that effect. Here's the play-by-play call by probably two of the most boring announcers I've ever heard call an NBA game. Here's about a 10-second clip.
Has he thrown somebody out? Both of them. The two coaches? Pretty sure. Yeah. There goes Boylan walking out one end, Both coaches thrown out of the game. Me, oh my.
I had to edit that thing up and down, left and right, because they were talking about going to camp on Sunday. I don't know what was going on there, but nonetheless, the big story here is that Zach LaVine has offered, according to ESPN sources, offered to pay the fine. Boylan has been assessed $7,000, saying that he is proud of the way his coach stuck up for players. Now, if you remember, this relationship did not start well. But Boylan and LaVine were going at each other. LaVine didn't like Boylan's, military style of coaching. But now it appears that there's mutual respect. What do you think about that, Mike?
Well, I think that they stink, number one, as a team. I don't think they're going anywhere in the time future. I'm glad that, the coach stood up for him. I think that, that's something that's going to bond the team. There was no doubt there was negativity brought in. By the way, I just want to say this, as I was betting Iowa State yesterday and winning another game.
Nice.
Gee, they had no trouble at all losing Fred Hoiberg, didn't they? They had no trouble at all. That program never skipped a beat. All I heard is Hoiberg this, Hoiberg that. I'm sure he had a lot with the resurrection of the program, but, man, they don't miss him at all. So I just wanted to throw that in. And I'll tell you, it's good when a coach does that. I like that the fact that Zach LaVine, I'm disturbed by the fact they're not trying to win. I saw this kid last night again. I love him. I took Duke last night. Minus the 7.5 on as part of my 3-0 in one day. I love him. I absolutely love him. And what's underrated is his moves inside the paint when he puts the ball down. It's very hard to do. Put the ball down. So usually a lot of guys with their back to the basket sometimes, and he plays a lot sometimes with his back to the basket, will grab the ball but never put it down. This guy starts out on the wing, and he can put moves on guards that knock them on their ass. So when he improves his three-point shot, and when he improves, and he had been doing okay, he was 3 or 4 going into the game yesterday. I don't know what his stats were, but his free throws, he's going to be one of the best who ever played, I think, unless he gets hurt.
Yep.
He's a force. He's not the first guy I've seen like this. Like I've said before, Larry Johnson and everything else. So, look, would I like to see the Bulls get him? Absolutely.
Oh, gosh.
Do they have bad karma? Are they a bad organization? And can they get him? Only if it falls into their lap. And like I've said, they'll screw that up 3 years down the line.
But you're right. I've been watching Zion Williamson and the athleticism.
Oh, my God.
The athleticism is just off the books. This guy is unbelievable.
Look, man, I'm going to tell everybody this. I've seen them all. I've seen Calvin Murphy, Rick Mount, Pete Maravich, Wilt Chamberlain, Lou Alcindor, Charles Barkley, Michael Jordan. I'll go all night long. Jerry Lucas, Patrick Ewing. This kid's that type of player, at least at the college level. He's a dominator, and he cares, and he loves his teammates. Anybody that gets him, and if the Bulls get him, they're set.
Yep, they
unless
are.
there's injury.
And that was one of the most impressive things, is what he said after the game. I was not going to let my brothers go to war without me.
Unbelievable.
Oh, what a guy. What a guy.
Well, if you listen to half the broadcasters and media, he would have never. See, this was my argument. When they were going to, all the media, half of the people in the media never played a competitive sport in their life. Seriously. So it's easy for them to say, because a lot of them are careful anyway.
Right.
I can't say this, I can't say that. They're careful. You have nothing to prove. You have nothing to prove. You can shut it down now. Even DeMarcus Cousins showed me his true stripe. It's called a yellow stripe down your back, because you got to go to Golden State now to do or to be a hanger-on, because Zion Williamson won't be a hanger-on. He'll be the leader. Bottom line is this. If he hadn't played that game the other night and gone 13 for 13, okay, and played as great as he did, let's say that game he goes 4 for 12, and at the end of the game he's limping a little bit. People are worried, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so what happened? He plays against the advice of a lot of people who don't know diddly crap about competitive sports and don't know the innards of a man like him, that wants to compete, that loves it, that went there to be a champion. They don't know about that, a lot of these people in the media, because you know what? A lot of them never competed. You know, maybe they were subs on the chess team. I have no idea. But if you give a damn about your team, this is an old school guy. He's not a millennial, as we would term it. He's his own guy, does what he wants to do. He has a great coach in Coach K. And let me ask you this. Did his draft stock improve, or, seriously, did he solidify his number one? Absolutely, by playing this whole weekend. Because if he doesn't play, or if he plays and he's limping, there's doubt about him, right?
Right. That's very true.
All the know-it-alls. They're a bunch of hanger-ons. This guy's a leader.
Can you imagine if the draft was...
Do I sound upset to you?
No, you sound fired up. Oh, my goodness.
I'm fired up because a bunch of people that have been careful their whole lives are telling this guy to be careful. No, you got to be careful of him.
Yep.
You got to be careful of him. And most people have never been in that position.
Mike, tell our young listeners who may not have been around when Michael Jordan suffered that broken ankle and the Bulls didn't want to play him after he sat out 50, 60 games, and Jordan wanted to play, and there was this love of the game clause. Go back in time and tell people about the will to win, the will to play for his teammates that Michael Jordan had.
Michael Jordan, when he broke that foot, I was scared.
Yeah, we all
I go, this reminds me of Gale Sayers.
Yeah.
Now, you got to remember, at that time, but see, here's the key. They kept him out for a while, and then they tried to keep him out even longer.
Right.
And he stood up.
Yep.
And he said, listen, man, I got to be there for my team. I want to win. I'm the leader. I'm not sitting on the bench. I'm good. But they tried to do with him what they did with Derrick Rose, and Derrick Rose was more than happy to sit on his ass. Sit on his ass. Shoot jumpers for an hour and a half before the game, and then sit on his ass and get in a suit. That's where he lost me. And the Bulls, they could say they were careful all they want. That went on for a year and a half, man. Yeah. That was brutal. And now for Zach LaVine, if they want him to rest or sit, he's sitting.
Yeah.
Where's the fight in him?
Yeah, they're in Tank City
right now.
Where's
the fight in him? Jordan wanted to play. Zach LaVine will sit on his rear end if they tell him to.
Well, at least he's paying his coaches fine. That's fine.
They got a good bond now. They can sit together. Anybody that's healthy should be playing. Anybody that's healthy should be playing completely for the Bulls.
Should he sit on his lap?
Zach LaVine, he'll screw them up.
Yeah, that's right.
They might start winning.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, do you hold a grudge against, a grudge, and maybe that's not the best way of putting it, but how disappointed you are in Derrick Rose and when he went through that period of time where it was just kind of questionable. Does this guy really want to play basketball for the Bulls?
Well, no, I'm not. Look. They were probably scaring the bejesus out of him, and he was scared himself.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take anything away from the kid. He was a tremendous player. But Sam Smith, when I had Sam Smith on my show, and he blamed the fans and the media. Nobody controls the media for trying to put heat. Nobody put heat on Derrick Rose that badly. We had the media in this town sit around and let him sit on his rear end and shoot jumpers in practice before the game, so everybody would say he's going to play, and then he'd come out in a suit. What the Bulls did with this kid, the way they handled it was atrocious. And thank God Michael Jordan didn't want them to do the same thing to him.
Yep. Yeah, right.
Because who knows by sitting what it does. Maybe he sits too long. Maybe he comes back and twists an ankle. He was ready to go, and he fought the Bulls to play. And that can't be denied. And you can say Derrick Rose, Pooh, as they used to call him, Pooh Bear, said, I'll do whatever you want. I want to be able to walk. I want to be able to have that big contract. Remember all that garbage?
Oh, yeah.
You know what? He made so much money. Here's this poor kid from Inglewood, and he wanted more. And then he had trouble off the court. I mean, it ended up being a disaster with the Bulls. Look at it any way you want.
Yeah, that's where I have a little bit of a problem with Derek, and there's been this kind of forgiveness campaign by the part of Chicago Bulls fans, and I guess that's okay, but I just have a bad taste in my mouth with him saying things like, I got to think about my next contract, I got to be able.
It was sickening.
Yeah, it was.
It was sickening. This is a kid from the toughest part of Chicago,
right,
where people just want to get a job.
Mm-hmm.
This guy makes millions. He's cut into a pizza company with Reinsdorf. They make all these moves. They tell him to sit on his ass. He says, okay. They bring him along. He's still playing. I'm not taking anything away from that, and he has his days still.
Mm-hmm.
But my God, the way that they handled that is a debacle. And the media, most of them let people get away with it. They let them get away with it.
Can you imagine if Zion Williamson would have said, well, I'm not going to play the rest of these games at Duke because I got to think about my NBA future. It's totally different from
There's a tarnish on the kid.
Yeah.
See, the media, a lot of the media don't get it. A lot of the media is coastal. A lot of the media comes from a few schools, Syracuse, a lot of schools. They don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
The average Joe looks at guys that want to sit when they're healthy. It's disgusting. They pay big money for season tickets. You're protecting yourself because you want to lose to try to get somebody big. Tanking's just disgusting. I never went into one thing in my life thinking, I'll lose and I'll gain.
Mm-hmm.
I'll lose and I'll gain. I never went into anything like that, and that's what the Chicago Bulls have been doing, spinning their wheels for a long, long time.
Well, I remember in one of the early shows that we did, you said a lot of people go to Vegas and say, I lost a few $100. That's okay. And you said, no, you do not have that attitude. You take that, you bring that competitive spirit that you want of your players and that you showed when you played sports. You do that in the betting world too. So let's talk a little bit about your success with betting, because you are on a super hot streak, aren't you?
Well, I'll tell you, Aldo, what happened was I just said to myself, you know what, I like what I'm doing. I'm relaxed. I'm having fun. I'm with Aldo with a couple shows. I do some radio hits with Munch, Bishop in Cleveland, JT the Brick at Fox and other places. Other people. Been on a couple, which I just like doing my hits. I've made my bank. I got a beautiful home, beautiful wife, great dog, got our health, which is number one. Got great people that still respect me. But as I was doing my handicapping and winning, I said, you know what? I got to start letting the word out that I'm the best. Because, and then I said, but the only way you could say you're the best is if you perform in front of the biggest audience. So I would come on to Sun Times, I would do my thing with you, and we won. And nobody won like we did this year. Nobody went 18-1-1. Nobody. So now that word starts getting around. At the same time, I guess I had done the two shows with ESPN, and they, I thought they were just okay, as far as I was concerned.
Really?
No fault of their own. Mm-hmm. And then I said, you know what? I'm tired of, is LeBron going to play? Why did so-and-so say this? And, yesterday somebody was seen leaving in a hotel. As talk radio started to get off the field,
mm-hmm.
and I've been gone for a while, and I've been having fun just handicapping. Now, I like talking about the other sports, but I said my new thing is going to be handicapping. The next thing you know, everything's blown up. I hardly ever lose. Sorry, folks. I'm just telling you the truth. I put my picks out yesterday. I said, you know what? I had Iowa State. I could have, for all you people at Iowa State with me, there's going to be a big party. It's going to be on a phone with a dance floor because not many did. And they went out and won that game. Then I put right out on Twitter, I'm taking Duke. What does Duke do? They win by 10. So I'm telling everybody this, and Aldo knows it already. Aldo had to be convinced. The only way you convince people is by winning, just like the Bears did this year. You ain't convincing me that Trubisky's good and this guy's good or that guy's good until I see it with my own eyes. I saw it.
You saw.
The Panther is alive! It's Sunday morning!
He's been unleashed.
I'm unleashed!
All right.
I'm chirping like a songbird today.
Everybody
Shut me up.
everybody in the chat room wants your take on Clinton Dix, but we're going to save that for the end of the show.
You're running the show, compadre. You're running the show. How do you like that, compadre?
I like that. I like that.
I threw that compadre in. It's pretty good, huh?
That is awesome.
I put it on the Treasure Sierra Madre. I want to incorporate it in the show.
I was going to say, I'm going to turn you into a Puerto Rican pretty soon.
Yeah, I just turned into Walter Houston.
Next time I come over the house, I'm going to teach you some spray painting techniques.
Listen, I never got the graffiti thing. We hung out on some stairs at Senn High School on Thorndale, and nobody ever messed with the school. And then one day we all went to the beach. And then we come back, and you know how the school, on the right side where we hung out by the pillars, there was a heart sprayed. And JoJo loves Lena or something. We were pissed. We weren't one of those people that did, but back in the day,
yeah.
And now it's turned into an art to cover up eroding infrastructure.
Yeah, there's some guy named Banksy who does graffiti, and he's selling it for millions of dollars. Pretty cool, huh?
You're driving over the Skyway. Hey, this bridge looks like it's going to fall. Yeah, who cares? Look at that graffiti over there. Isn't it beautiful?
I remember when I was, we used to hang out at the Moose schoolyard, and for years we were there. And one of my
mooses, God bless them. They're wonderful creatures.
Right on California and Wabansia. And one day, one of my friends says, "Look at all this graffiti up and down the building. I don't see all those names anywhere." And everybody started laughing, and I felt like bad. I felt like maybe I should go get a spray paint and put my name up there.
Now, you know what? We didn't get into that. We played sports, but I know there was a lot of areas, including Uptown, man. It was starting to get bad. I remember when Rahm Emanuel first was running for mayor, and I knew that he didn't know the terrain completely because he was from the suburbs.
Right.
And there was some graffiti. He had just become mayor, and there was some graffiti on one of the downtown bridges that you could see from the boats in the Chicago River. Somebody had gotten on one of the side of the Wabash Bridge, or you know what I mean?
Sure.
And put, something on there. And Rahm Emanuel actually said this. We're going to get to all the graffiti. We're going to let some of the graffiti, get more graffiti, and then we're going to send people out. I go, are you kidding me? And what was funny is the next day that was gone. It's downtown Chicago, man.
Yeah.
You can't have graffiti on your bridge, on the Michigan Avenue Bridge. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's just an ugly scene. And I love the graffiti force that the city of Chicago is. They do a good job.
Yeah, they do. They absolutely do. And
they do a great job. They come in, they take care of anything that's graffiti. Just call the city if you have some graffiti that somebody sprayed on. They'll come and help you.
You know what? Who else does a
I
good
turned into
job?
a public service for the city of Chicago.
Yeah.
I love it.
When did
Put
that
that down
start?
along with unofficial Chicago Bear historian, unofficial Chicago supplier. That's it.
I love it.
I'll get your graffiti off.
All right.
Oh!
You know what that means? It is time for Mike North's Top Picks. And we got some games today that we want to lay some money on. What do you got, Mike?
Aldo, let me tell you something. As they call me, Mr. Ivy League. You can't get away from it. We've made our bones off the Ivy League,
Yes.
so I was saying, I wonder what's going to happen Sunday.
Uh-huh.
Kids got to get their rest from studying all night. Okay, it's not like The Paper Chase anymore, which was a movie in the 70s where they jumped out of buildings. Believe me, folks. It's a little different now. But, I'm looking at this Yale-Harvard game. It's an 11 o'clock game.
Yeah.
We'll have the podcast up by then, so we don't have to worry.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But I don't want to give a game that's already so. Anyway, 11 o'clock. Yale's minus 4.5 versus Harvard. Now, Harvard of recent vintage has done real well. The tournament, to get in, and they win the Ivy League. They've been a power. And then I noticed today Yale's minus 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
I go, you know what? There's something not right here. Because Yale is known for two things, okay? Academics and the other Yale, they make good combination locks, okay, when I was a kid. Aldo remembers Yale Lock Company, right?
Absolutely. Yale and Master with a top two.
I knew I wasn't going to be a safecracker when I got my combination lock, and it took me 10 minutes to open it. Even with the combination. I said to my mom, check safecracker off. She goes, why? I said, I had the combination. I couldn't open my lock today. Okay? So, I got Yale minus the 4.5 in honor of the lock company and those really nice plain blue and white uniforms. Just plain.
Uh-huh.
Go out there, win the game, and hey, Harvard, Yale, doesn't matter if it's football, doesn't matter if it's marbles. It's a fierce rivalry.
Yes,
it really is.
It really is.
So I'm going to go with Yale minus the 4.5, okay?
Now, let me ask you this. Harvard has swept that season series with Yale. Does that give you pause at all, or you just think that, they're going to cover and life is good?
You know what gives me pause? You know what gives me pause? You questioning my pick. That gives me pause. Huh? Really? You're basically asking Chef Boyardee, are you sure this spaghetti in a can will work?
They just had a recall, by the way.
He's about 200 years old now, but he says, yeah, although it's going to be okay. So I got Yale minus 4.5. And let me ask you this, handsome.
Okay.
Because now I call you Joe Public when we get to the gambling section. I think it's on your business card.
I think so.
Aldo Gandia, also known as Joe Public. You just read me something that was interesting. And like I've explained on ESPN, they're no longer people to me.
Mm-hmm.
Players are robots. Mm-hmm. They're the dice on the craps table.
Oh, yeah.
They're the cards at blackjack.
Mm-hmm.
I can't worry if LeBron's on a team. Everybody goes, I'm at this game. Why? LeBron. Well, how's that been going? So they're all robots to me. They're game pieces. That's all football games are to me. I don't put no names to anything because basically, since if you're reading, Oakland got Antonio Brown. You'll bet every day. If you love Antonio Brown, you'll bet Oakland. And you know what? You'll end up probably getting burned. Because I haven't seen a wide receiver turn things around for many teams.
Yeah.
Especially big mouth ones. So I like Yale minus the 4.5. And Harvard beat them, like you said. They own them. So why is Yale favored?
Yeah, exactly. A great question. And remember, that game is on at 11 a.m. Central on ESPN2. I'll be tuning in. I hope you do too. I might actually,
So will I. I hope I'm not in the fetal position under the covers by halftime.
I hope not too.
Yeah. Okay, now,
Okay.
I got another one for you, because that's the kind of guy I am. You know who's escaping? They've been playing good ball. They're 31-2. They're a machine. Houston.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're giving Cincinnati, who's been playing pretty good ball,
Very good.
4.5 points. 4.5 points. I'm going to take Cincinnati, getting the 4.5. So you got Yale minus 4.5, Cincinnati plus 4.5. Now, let me remind everybody, I have not had 1 week. I'm due for, look, the way I'm going, I've been telling Aldo for like 4 months, I'm due for a beating. I don't know if today's going to be the day. I go by the system. I go by my method of doing this. So it could happen, but I doubt it. I'm going to take Cincinnati plus the 4.5 over Houston.
Now
Houston is going. Hey, these guys aren't used to playing 3 games in a row.
Right.
A lot of these teams.
Right. That
Because
game.
remember that.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the NBA, folks, where they play back-to-backs. So when you saw teams yesterday struggling, going, boy, they're not as quick as they usually look. Well, yeah, they played 2-3 games in a row.
Right. Exactly.
Right? That never happens during the season for these guys in the NBA, in the NCAAs. So you got to look at fatigue, where these teams have come from. You want one more? Should I step out today? No, I better not.
No,
I better
hold
leave
on.
it alone.
Before we leave this,
Don't scream like you're falling off a cliff. What the hell happened?
I don't know.
God.
I think I was having a heart attack. I don't know. University of Cincinnati. This is the second straight year they're playing for that AC championship. And last year, Cincinnati won a dramatic 1-point game in that championship game. Do you want to rethink your pick? No, I'm just kidding.
I don't need you to try to sway me, okay? Do you know what I mean? You're Dustin Hoffman. You're Dustin Hoffman in Midnight Cowboy telling John Voight to get rid of the Get rid of the cowboy hat. Hey, Ratso, look in the mirror.
I'm driving
Don't
here.
look so damn tantalizing yourself. I don't know what that meant. I just thought I threw it in because I watched it the other night. Pretty good movie.
Oh, one of the best.
One of the best. One of the best. Believe me when I tell you this, folks. Okay, I'm going to give one more game.
Okay.
If I'm going to crash and burn, if I'm going to do the Patsy Cline and hit the mountain,
Okay.
then, do you want me to? Okay, Carol Lombard. Maybe they don't know who that is.
No, they don't.
I really, for some reason,
Okay.
when every major airline, like to eat, the God blessed poor those poor people in Ethiopia. My God,
Yeah,
everything's
that's
on a mountain.
Oh, my
You know,
Yeah.
it's terrible. It's terrible. Hey, you want to go on our plane? We have trouble with it, but don't worry about it. We'll get you there. Are you kidding me? Terrible.
I'm not.
All right, Michigan State.
Michigan. Oh, my gosh. The Big Ten championship
-1
game.
against
Yes.
Michigan. Michigan's been dominating. I think if you ask people which team has impressed you, it's Michigan. But who always gets it done? I remember my first year at WSCR. And all the guys were teasing me because I called him the great Tom Izzo, and he hadn't coached yet.
Mm-hmm.
So Mac and some of the other guys come, hey, the great Tom Izzo. I think this guy's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but you called him the great Tom, and they were right. But you know what unfortunately happened for everybody?
What?
He became great. He became great. He's built for these games. He's built for these games. He's a winner. So I got Michigan State, Yale, and Cincinnati.
All right. Now, I'm glad you picked that game because it's
Try to keep the energy up, will you please? Try. I feel like I got to lower a rope to you.
That game is at, I think, 3:30 here in Chicago at the United Center. CBS Television is going to broadcast the game, and that's going to be the game, in my opinion, to watch. But all these three games that you picked are worthy of tuning into, and I'm glad that you've picked all three of those. Now,
Yeah, I wanted to give it, but remember, and stay away from the other games. Sometimes the best bet you make is the bets that you don't do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Stay away from Tennessee Auburn.
Mm-hmm.
Stay away from Georgia State's game.
Mm-hmm.
And stay away from St. Louis St. Bonaventure. Stay away from those games. Don't even contemplate them. We got 3 games for you. Hey, we go 1-2, 2-1, 3-0. If you've been betting with me from the beginning, you have a deluxe home, a beautiful Cadillac, so don't worry about it. If you got to switch from premium to regular because we lose one game, live with it.
Joe wants to know if you have tips for people who are filling out brackets, and if you do, that's something we'll talk about tomorrow night on the Mike North Advantage, the Monday night edition.
We're going to have a big guest tomorrow night.
Ooh.
As usual, we had Hawk Harrelson. We got a lot of great response from the Hawk Harrelson interview, so I got another surprise guest. But, yeah, we'll talk about the tournament, going Sunday and Monday. Here's another thing, though, I keep hearing from. I did bring up the fatigue factor, but we got to remember, I've been hearing a lot of this, too. Wow, this team's got depth. I heard this all night about Florida State. Well, they got more depth than Florida State. Than Duke. And I said to myself, Florida State's got more depth than Duke. And she goes, what do you think? I go, but Florida State doesn't have Zion Williamson or Coach K. So I'm going to take Duke. Depth is nonsense. Depth means that there's guys that are 6th, 7th, and 8th on your bench that are as good as some of your guys in the starting lineup, period. That could play, so they have to make decisions. To me, all you need is 5. I saw the Paul Blue Demons do it with 5 guys get to the Final Four in 1979 with Curtis Watkins, Mark Aguirre, who's the greatest freshman basketball player I ever saw. I'm serious, folks. Because like Alcindor wasn't playing freshman ball back in the day. They didn't have the rule.
That's right.
You had Clyde Bradshaw, Gary Garland, the Music Man, and Jim Mitchum. 5 guys. So I don't want to hear the nonsense. They were in prime shape, and they almost took the whole thing. They lost to Larry Bird.
Under the great coach Ray Meyer. Absolutely.
Yep.
Those were great days at DePaul basketball. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about the depth thing. Because if you bought into the depth thing yesterday, you know what? You're deep in debt. That's where your depth is because you took Florida State.
Now, so we'll talk. I gotta get that. I gotta cure that.
Very nice, Mr. North. Very nice presentation. Thank you.
Yeah, that's probably where I get it from my corporate.
That's when I know the show's rolling. If I don't get a during the whole show, I go upstairs. P goes, "You want something to eat?" I go, "No, thanks." What? I elbowed and go, Or his other tag, interesting.
That's right. Well, you got me down.
It's Sunday nonsense with Mike and Al. Sunday nonsense you like. It's Sunday nonsense. That's what we do. Yeah, we got to get a theme song.
Hey, I'm looking at odds to win the tournament. Duke is 9-4, Gonzaga 9-2, Virginia 6-1, North Carolina 10-1. That's about what you would think, right? I mean,
yeah, I got to ask you about Gonzaga. I keep hearing all the basketball people say they're going all the way. Yeah, but you know what? They come from one of the weakest leagues.
Yep.
They lost to St. Mary's in the conference championship, but yet I keep hearing they're unstoppable and they deserve a top slot. Why doesn't that hold true for football, for the playoffs? We can't let UCF in. They come from a weak league, and you know what? They might lose. But wait, Gonzaga comes from a weak league in basketball, and all the basketball people fall down on their knees for this team. Why doesn't NCAA football treat some of the outliers, so to speak, like they treat Gonzaga? Because if I look back, Gonzaga was supposed to win a national championship a couple times. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I just haven't seen it. So I'm not a believer in them. I was so happy to see Kansas lose yesterday. Enough of that. Enough of them. They were just horrible. They just had no chemistry. I saw Bill Self in the huddle pleading with this team to play. You know, you're going to Kansas. So they had no mojo. That being said, they're going to get in the tournament. So it's going to be interesting. But Gonzaga is always the one that people point at, and they usually end up disappointing.
You caught me. You caught me talking in the chat room.
That's all right. Good to see. You're talking back at people?
I'm reading their questions, too.
Oh, you're typing in?
No, Tooch wanted me to ask you what you think.
It's always good to have a producer doing his own show.
That's right, it is.
Yes. Well, yeah, exactly. So what does Tooch want to know?
Tooch wants to know your thoughts about Marcus Howard, who I believe is the top-scoring college basketball player. He plays for Marquette. Any thoughts on Mr. Marcus Howard, 20 years old, out of New Jersey, playing for Marquette? No.
No, I'm glad you typed in everything for him. No, I just told everybody they're robots to me. I could care less. He might end up going 1 for 10. You know what I'm saying? So I don't care. Most of the people that take these teams, look, you know, the NCAA, Tooch, is built on coach. You know the coaches and you know the teams. If you ask most of the people that jump into these pools, name me 3 guys from any of these teams, they just look at you. You know?
So true.
They look at you. That's it. Because they don't stay for 4 years anymore. It's sort of like free agency in football. Like you used to follow the Elvin Hayeses, the Maraviches, the Alcinders. It was fun because you saw them progress every single year. Zion Williamson's gone next year. The only reason we know who he is because he's so tremendous, but because he plays with Coach K and Duke, and they're a top team.
Yep. So true, Mike. I remember when the NFL and Players Association went to court so that the players could have freedom to move around and get into free agency. Chuck Noll, who was then the coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, told the court, if we go into free agency, that's going to ruin the National Football League because football players need continuity. They need to stay with one team for life and so forth. And that's the way it was then. You could count on Dick Butkus no matter what. He was going to begin and end his career with the Bears and blah, blah, blah. But Chuck Noll was proven wrong in terms of, you know, we can still play football even though there's a lot of player movement.
Yeah, but then you get, because of certain things, you get players that make so much money and are propped up. I mean, to me, the way they treated Antonio Brown, like he's like he was at Normandy, a conquering hero. You know, the Canyon of Heroes. You know, because he was a piece of you know what, and he destroyed the team from within.
Yeah.
And you know what's amazing? Anybody, for the most part, in broadcasting, if you had somebody acting like he was on the set and not showing up, you have a producer that doesn't show up, you have maybe an anchor not show up, they're gone.
Yep.
They're not prepped up and going what heroes they are. So Antonio Brown and all these guys, I mean, to me, free agency, Doug Buffon told me this, that the best thing he never ever did was stay in Chicago because he made money afterwards.
Right.
He had rest spots and everything else, but that wasn't everybody. So free agency is good for the individual. You'll lose, but you don't have that same connection to the players. But I gotta believe Dick Butkus would have made hundreds of millions of dollars if after year 3 or year 4 he was available.
Oh, gosh. Can you imagine?
My God, are you kidding me? I mean, what would some of these guys have gotten? Johnny Unitas wouldn't have played all those years in Baltimore.
No.
He would have been a free agent. I mean, so look at Jordan. I mean, they paid Jordan so much because they knew what they got, plus you could match whatever other team did. So you never had to fear that. I like that you can match, you know?
Yes.
Baseball's not like that. And, by the way, a moment of silence. Bryce Harper got hurt in the foot. He's injured already. Let's go on now. Move on.
I saw that headline, and I thought about you immediately.
I thought the guy got in a car accident the way they were worried about it. He got hit with a pitch. He's day to day. Okay, big deal. Am I going to hear everything? Hey, he spit twice in the 3rd inning. My God.
Oh, okay.
He'll be back to his 270, 35 homers, 92 RBI.
Occasionally running out a ground ball.
Occasionally not fighting a teammate.
Yeah, right.
Causing problems in the clubhouse.
Exactly. All
My
right.
God. They make all these malcontents act like they're the greatest people on earth, like they're Mother Teresa's. Tell her like it is.
So true.
Man.
I got a couple of movies.
But as you know, there's that problem in most organizations. There's always a bad apple or two. Always.
That is for sure. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, just say it. I'm not saying.
Now, before I ask these couple of movie questions that come through the chat
I
room,
love movie questions.
but first I want to ask about Ha Ha Clinton Dix. I've got to believe that you're super excited about a guy coming to the Chicago Bears who has turned down more money because he wants to play with this defense and alongside his former Alabama teammate Eddie Jackson at the safety position. Ha Ha Clinton Dix and Eddie Jackson, these two could combine for double-digit interceptions, maybe 8 apiece. Who knows? What are your thoughts on Ha Ha joining the Bears on a 1-year deal?
I would have rather had Amos. I would have rather kept him, but you couldn't. They got him cheap. I think he'll just be okay. I'm glad he wants to play with the Bears. I'm glad he wants to play with Eddie Jackson. I only go by what I've said for 2 years.
Sure.
I wasn't a fan.
Sure.
He never. If he panned out the way he was supposed to be, the Bears would have never gotten him.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have been able to get him for a year. I mean, he would have been offered a multi-year deal for big money. But I got to be honest with you. When I watch him on the football field, I see a step slow to react. I don't always see a solid tackle, but I wish him nothing but the best. And playing with this Bear defense will hike his game up, as we saw with everybody last year.
I don't think so much that it's been a step slow. I see a player who perhaps was not happy with his surroundings. At Green Bay, there was a lot of dissension going on there towards the last season that he played there. Then he goes over to Washington. He was hesitant because he probably didn't know the defense as well. He came to the team in midseason. But, you may be right. You may be right in that, the wear and tear of the game has gotten to him. We shall see. It is a mystery.
Why did he only get one deal?
Exactly.
1 year is just,
yeah.
Good. I'm glad we got him. I think he's going to be a support guy, maybe a fifth back. I don't think he's starting.
No, he's starting.
I don't know. Maybe he is.
He's starting.
Maybe he's going to start. But they didn't. Look, it was a good move for them if they want to. But they lost. I like the other kid, your son. What was his name?
Adrian Amos. It's my son.
Right. All of a sudden, you've abandoned him. Who picked him up?
Green Bay.
I think it was like a trade. I think they got the better deal.
I'm not going to argue that. I really wanted my son.
You can't. All you did was, I thought the kid was a member of your family. You can't argue. My God.
I loved Adrian Amos because one of the reasons why is I thought he was so underappreciated by not only the national media, but also Chicago Bears fans. There were a lot of Bears fans that didn't get how reliable this guy was at the safety position. Yes, occasionally he missed a tackle. That happens to the best of safeties. Yes, he was not an interception machine, but this guy did so many things that people underappreciated, and we may finally come to that realization.
Like what? Wait a minute. Like what, Aldo? Like what did he do? He didn't intercept the ball. He missed tackles. What did he do?
He played the box.
I mean, he's a good he's a decent safety, but we're not talking Ronnie Lott here. We know that, right?
No, absolutely. I totally agree with you. I think he was at the top of the tier 2, safety group in the National Football League. And remember, he's only 25 years old. He could still become a tier 1 safety. But you ask me like what? Things that people don't normally pay attention to, like communicating with his fellow players, like playing the box and playing your gap with discipline so that players, the opposition doesn't get around you for open yards. Those little things that a lot of us football fans don't pay attention to because we're always focused on the ball. Adrian Amos was just for me a really good football player.
Yeah, he was. I liked him. Hey, good luck to hey, we thought that great. Basically, Pace was nuts for re-signing Fuller, and look what he's done. He's been one of the top corners in the league. I mean, the guy had 8 interceptions. The guy was a top 15 corner in the National Football League easily this year. And, so Green Bay knew what they were doing when they made Fuller that offer. So do they know what they're doing with Amos? I think they do. They're pretty good judges of players over there. They've had some injuries. I don't think Amos got caught up with all the tension with Rodgers and all those guys. I just think that they were on the field more because Rodgers wasn't as good and because they had some issues. That's it.
Yep. All right. That sounds fair. All right. Let's get to some movie questions. But actually, before the movie questions, Greg Braggs just asked a question. He wants to know, if Michael Jordan returned to the game with 2 words, I'm back, maybe it might be 3 words, I'm back again, what would be your thoughts, first of all? And then Greg wants to know if you got...
At his current age?
Yeah, at his current age.
I think he'd average 8 points to 10 points a game.
Yeah, I think so, too.
He'd lock up, he could come off the bench for 5, 6 minutes, 10 minutes. He's done. I mean, Michael always worked so hard. I was with the man. The man didn't have an ounce of body fat. He does now. So let's just move on. He's turned into a middle-aged owner. And he still looks good. I mean, he still looks great.
He does.
I will say this. I'll never see another competitor like him or Peyton in the football side in my lifetime ever again. Ever. I can safely say I hung out with 2 of the greatest competitors who ever played team sports. Walter Payton and Michael Jordan.
Oh, man. You are so lucky.
I was, man. Especially Walter. Michael would kick me in the rear end and shoot a shot at me. But you know what? He was the best I've ever seen on the basketball court, taking over and everything else. And Walter, I mean, didn't want to even – he missed 1 game his whole career. That tells you all you need to know.
You shared the story of Jordan and you at the gambling table.
Guy was getting mad at me. I go, you're the one that's hitting on 16. What are you, nuts? Getting mad at me because I'm sitting next to him and I'm taking his card. Tough. I'm here to win, too. You got $40 million in the bank.
And he was laying
I'm looking for money to give the valet. Is it all right if I win a hand? My God.
That's great.
Funny man.
So Greg has a follow-up. What if Michael returned in his peak form? If magic were real, he returned to the game of basketball in his peak form today, where would you kind of place him among NBA players?
He'd average 40 a game.
Yeah, right? Easily.
Well, no, you're going to tell me with the defense they play and you're not allowed to touch anybody that he can't average 9 more points than he did for his career?
At least.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
He'd average 40, 45 a game. I'm here to tell everybody that.
Yep.
And if anybody doubts it, you haven't been watching the NBA.
Right.
It used to be the over-unders in the NBA were 190, 192, 184. I remember the Pistons games. There'd be 81-76 games. They were great, beating the crap out of each other.
Right.
Then everybody, is somebody going to get hurt now? We got to quit this. So now there's no defense, and the average over and under is 210, 215. Michael Jordan would have averaged 40 to 45. And anybody wants to dispute that, basically, I'll just tell you, you don't know the game like I do then, because back then, they did everything to him. Watch a montage sometimes on Twitter of what the Pistons used to do to him and the Celtics.
And the Knicks.
Isaiah Thomas grabbed him around the neck from behind like he was a Boston Strangler. Mm-hmm. It was crazy.
Yep. It was borderline criminal activity that was happening on Michael Jordan.
Yes. I mean, they don't even know. Look up YouTube. Look up Bad Boys versus the Bulls. Look up Jordan. Jordan knew they were trying to hurt him. Frequently, he'd say it. Mm-hmm. They tried to hurt Pippen. Right. They tried to hurt them all.
Yep. And one of the greatest sights I ever saw in Chicago sports history was the Pistons in a playoff series trying to physically intimidate Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan coming to the defense of his teammate and physically confronting players that were trying to intimidate Pippen and Jordan getting into their faces because he knew Pippen was the key to unlock championships and he wanted to protect and boost his teammate up. That to me was one of the most encouraging sports sights I've ever saw, inspiring.
Well, they knew they could get in his head because Pippen sat out a game with a migraine headache. Mm-hmm. I contend that's all crap. Mm. He sat out a game. And now people say, well, our migraine headaches are bad, but he's never had another one. He never had another one. Mm-hmm. So that game was suspicious. Was he out all night? Some people think he was. Did he have the migraine? Some people think that. Was he scared? I don't think he was scared. But if Michael had to step in for him, okay, he knew how important he was. Mm-hmm. But Michael also knew that they had a history of intimidating him and other players in the league. And you have Mahorn, you have Zeke, you have Rodman, you have James Edwards. These weren't nice people. Lambeer, well, it's just a hatchet man.
Oh, my gosh.
Lambeer's the guy at the door at shenanigans on St. Patrick's Day. He's watching the door. He's a bouncer. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, like a guy that gets paid for everybody he throws out of the place. That was Lambert. He was seeking to hurt people. That was unbelievable.
I worked the door at shenanigans for 2 St. Patrick's Day.
Really?
I was looking for a revolver by the end of the night. I swear to God. You want to talk about a hell-raising experience. My buddy says to me, listen, I need you. I need you and so-and-so to come down. Because my buddy ran about 3 of those bars. Mother's, Shenanigans.
Wow, cool.
A couple other places. But he goes, I'm going to need some extra guys. You want to work, make some good money on. I go, yeah. I worked 2 years. Because I had worked the doors at Shazam's, other bars on the north side for a few years, and they got to know me. And they said, listen, I need you to work the door. I swear to God, I thought it was an IRA rally. I was confiscating stuff. It was unbelievable. People were out of their minds. It was great. But, man, I couldn't wait to get home.
That's going to be a scene in the movie.
The first time I said, I don't know if I keep drinking, if it's a good thing after seeing these people.
Mike, that has to be a scene in the movie, in the early part of the movie. That would be great.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
My guy, Mikey Cam and Jaron says, I need you, Charlie, and a couple other guys to come help me out. We're going to need some more men because it's St. Patrick's Day. I figure it's St. Patrick's Day in Division. Come on now. Are you kidding me? I thought it was in Dublin at rush hour. Crazy.
Gosh, that's so funny.
Those were the days. The police horses coming down the middle of the street. People barely. I mean, the horses were pretty. But one guy socked a horse, and that guy got his brains beat in, not by the cops. Guy just shoved the horse with his hand. Didn't punch him. He got his brains beat in right in front of us. It was great.
Oh, God, that has to be in the movie. That just has to. All right, talking about movies, I don't know how.
By the way, Conor McGregor. Rahm Emanuel brings in Conor McGregor for the St. Patrick's Day parade as the grand, as one of the guys. Mm-hmm. See that?
Yeah, I saw that.
2 gangsters together. I love
it. Yeah, Conor was at the Boston Garden yesterday dropping the puck, and now he's coming over to Chicago to bring some of his shenanigans to Chicago. What a personality. Conor, he's something else, that Conor McGregor. He knows how to...
I mean, him and Emanuel walking down the street.
Yeah, amazing.
I mean, Conor McGregor's under what? He's under charges right now for something, isn't he? I loved it.
He is. All right.
Machine Gun McGurn wasn't available.
That's right. We went through the FBI most wanted list, and finally we found somebody was available. Okay,
Exactly.
we're talking movies now. I don't know how this got started in the chat room, but Kurt Russell's name came out. People wanted to get your thoughts on this long-time actor who started with Disney movies and then, as an adult, was making hit after hit after hit. And I'll tell you one thing. The movie studios loved Kurt Russell because practically every movie he was in made a profit. What are your thoughts about longtime actor Kurt Russell?
First of all, I never thought that Kurt and I would work for the same company, Disney.
That's right.
Yeah, I never thought that. Mickey Mouse has his hand on his chin looking at me as I speak.
That is so true.
And I knew Mickey and Minnie and Goofy and all the guys. We used to... In fact, I think I threw Goofy out of Shenanigans one year. But I got to tell you something. Kurt Russell, from mooching in the Little League back in the 60s to playing Elvis Presley to playing in Tombstone as Wyatt Earp, he's a above-average actor. My wife loves him because he's good-looking. She loves the guy.
Yeah.
I think, there's no two ways about it. I'd be in trouble if he came to the door. He was in Hateful Eight, where he let his hair stay natural.
That's right.
He's naturally gray. Goldie Hawn and him have had a great run. I've always liked Kurt Russell, and there's a documentary out on the Portland Mavericks. Look it up on YouTube, or look it up on your computer, folks. Bing Russell was the owner of the Portland Mavericks, and they were sort of like the Oakland A's, the ragtag group of the minor leagues, and they drew record crowds. And it's Kurt Russell's father. And he was the more outlandish one than his son. But Kurt Russell was then recruited in high school to become a shortstop. His first love was playing baseball. He had an opportunity to play pro, but he went into the acting business.
The battered...
How's that? I didn't even know it was coming. Right off the top of my head.
You're amazing. You really are amazing.
Come on.
It's called The Battered Bastards of Baseball, and it is on Netflix.
How about that?
Pretty good. 93% rating, so that is an endorsement and a half. The first endorsement coming from Mike North, and then the second one from the thousands who have seen that. 1973 baseball lover and actor Bing Russell, father of Kurt Russell, starts an independent single-A team, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I'll be looking for that.
Yep.
Now,
I'm going to watch that. It's on Netflix, and I found it interesting because I think later on they had a team, the Portland Beavers. And Portland's so screwed up now, I think they threw them out, and they were a famous minor league team, just indoor soccer. They didn't want to play both. I don't think the Portland Beavers are no longer in existence. I think that the soccer folks ran, and Portland's a very liberal city, and they threw baseball out. I mean, they threw baseball out, one of the more popular teams. As far as I know, maybe you can look it up, Aldo.
Yeah, I'll look
because I'm going off the top of my head. Portland Beavers.
Portland Beavers.
I'm sure you already got Beaver down on your computer in some form. Because you like dam building. That's you.
Did you hack my computer?
You like dam building. Look up the Beavers because it's going to bother me. Are they gone or not? Because I don't want to give people... I never give people wrong information, but I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, let me look it up. I believe they are.
Let me look it up. You're too slow on the trigger. I'm going to get it. Now you got me. I'll just go to the black box and who doesn't. Portland Beavers.
Look at this guy.
Here we go.
Look at this.
That's the black box.
According to Wikipedia, the Portland Beavers was the name of separate minor league baseball teams, which
Okay. Portland Beavers. They're gone.
They're gone.
Threw them out.
2010.
You've been great for it, but we like soccer. Well, you can have both. But they didn't.
They've been thrown out twice. They returned in 2001, and then were thrown out again in 2010. They've got a history. All right, I just want to go through a few Kurt Russell movies. The reason this came up is because today is the birthday of Kurt Russell.
I love Kurt Russell.
Yeah, Miracle, where he plays Coach Herb Brooks. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Great movie.
Yeah, right?
I love that movie. I think if you haven't seen Miracle... I really, sometimes they're cheesy.
Yes.
But it's to me, I mean, I like Slapshot. Paul Newman's fantastic, did his own skating, everything else. But for hockey fans, you got to see Miracle. And Kurt Russell, and this was a good one. I'm glad you remembered this one. Hits Herb Brooks head on. Has him down.
He does.
It's a shame Herb Brooks got killed in a car accident because he couldn't see all the wonderful things that have happened. I think he died right before the movie was came out.
Yeah, I believe you are right. Big Trouble in Little China, 1986 film done by, I believe it was John Carpenter. Did you ever see that movie?
Never saw it. Never. I don't want to see it. It's not my type of movie. Sometimes I know it's terrible. I go by the titles.
Yeah, well, let me...
Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw the trailer. I said, forget it. And I've never, if I see it on the tube, I just go right by it.
I love that movie, and a bunch of people in the
What
chat
was
room.
it about?
He plays a truck driver who gets involved with a bizarre Asian group of mystical people who need to sacrifice a woman with blue eyes, and he goes to the...
Stop it. I'm glad I made the right decision. Stop it, please. I'm going to throw up in my mouth. Thank you. The science fiction thing, right?
Yes, it is.
Mystical. As soon as I heard mystical,
With karate.
I go, here goes Aldo. Mystical. Look out.
All right.
What other movies? Because you know what? Some of them just go by. Tombstone, he was great, but you know what the problem is? Val Kilmer was fantastic.
Yes.
He stole the show as Doc Holliday, and I don't think Val Kilmer even got nominated for an Oscar for that role. And to me, it's one of the top 5 supporting actor deals ever. Maybe he did get nominated. I don't know, but Val Kilmer was fantastic as Doc Holliday. Better than Dennis Quaid, better than Victor Mature, better than Kirk Douglas by a long shot.
Yeah. Now, here's a
They
good...
all played Doc Holliday.
What about Tequila Sunrise with him and Mel Gibson? No, I like that one.
Didn't see it. He's not the type. He's not a De Niro.
No,
In
that's
other
for
words,
sure.
I'll try Pulp Fiction because De Niro's in it. I'll try Jackie Brown. I'll try Jackie Brown because De Niro's in it.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. I'll watch Analyze This and Analyze That because De Niro's in it. And he never disappoints.
Yes.
Never.
Yes.
And for Kurt Russell, I think there's some hits and misses like most actors.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's definitely going to happen.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give you. You probably hated the Escape from movies, Escape from New York, and then Escape from L.A. I believe the sequel was.
Yeah. I was trying to escape from Chicago. I had no time to watch some other guy trying to get out of the other 2 towns. Okay? But wait, all kidding aside, you know what movie I watched him in and I can never see it again because he died in it? Backdraft.
Oh, shot in Chicago.
I remember Backdraft, they wanted me... the Teamsters drove all those guys around. That was shot in Chicago.
Yep.
And the Hogans and all those guys drove them around. And I met a lot of the people in the movie, from the movie. Some of them came in. I know some people that were extras in the movie, but I can't watch it. I'm not a fan of that movie because of how it ended. He died. You had the arsonist. Scott Glenn was great in it. But it was shot in Chicago. If you want to see Chicago scenes, that's a good place.
Beautifully done movie. Overboard with Goldie Hawn and directed by the great Gary Marshall. That, in my mind, is an underrated movie. It was released on Christmas weekend in 1987. It got lost with these other big-budget movies, but it has enjoyed a great kind of revival, for lack of a better word, on cable television. It's on all the time. Have you seen it, and your thoughts?
Yeah. Oh, I watched it. I saw it when it came out. I like Goldie Hawn. I think she's tremendous in Snatched as the mother.
Yeah.
I thought she was great in that. I met Goldie Hawn right coming out of the Peninsula hotel one day. She was coming out, and I saw her. She had that smoker's voice. How you doing? Looks like she does in real life. A little tiny. Her son was playing hockey for a semi-pro team here, and she was in town to watch him out in Joliet. I forget what they were, the Jackham, or whatever they were, the Steel Blades, or whatever the hell. So she was here to see him.
How cool
is
that? And
I thought she was great, and Kurt Russell was great in that, too. It's a fun movie to watch. It really is.
All right, last one I got is the #1 ranked Kurt Russell movie on Rotten Tomatoes, The Thing, 1982, the remake of the Howard Hawks classic. Your thoughts on The Thing? Did you see it? I actually saw it for the first time recently, and it just doesn't hold up for me. But
wait a minute. Did you say it's the #1 movie of Kurt Russell's? I didn't make the list. Did you make the list?
No. No, according to Rotten Tomatoes, they kind of aggregate.
There's a reason they're called Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, what a weird name for a movie review.
You know what I mean?
Because
they're rotten at their movie reviews if they think that movie, I bet you didn't even make budget. I bet you that movie didn't make budget.
I don't think it did. One of our movie experts.
You see a lot of movies today, and you say to yourself, I saw the Charge of the Light Brigade the other day.
Wow.
And with Errol Flynn and all the boys.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you like how I say all the boys? It didn't make it lost money at the box office, and it was a good movie.
Yeah.
But you know what? I watched it. And I can't believe it lost money. But then, it's when it was released, how they released it, and the thing. I never even heard of it for him. As far as Kurt Russell's concerned.
Yeah, you have to be a sci-fi lover.
Forget it. You know what was on yesterday? Flash Gordon Conquers the Universe with Buster Crabbe.
Whoa.
There's nobody. And every year, every Saturday on TCM, from 8:30 to 9, they show an episode, 20-minute episode of Flash Gordon Conquers the Universe. We're on episode 6. It's the only science fiction stuff that I really love, and Buster Crabbe was sensational as Flash Gordon. Ming the Merciless is a top 15 villain of all time, easily top 5.
Absolutely.
Twice he hit on Dale while he was going to kill. He goes, "No woman of your ilk should be dressed like this. Put her in wonderful clothes and jewelry. In the meantime, I'll threaten Zarkov some more." He's hitting on her while he's telling Zarkov he's going to torture him. "You look very nice today, Miss Arden. By the way, Dr. Zarkov, I hope you enjoy my death ray." You know what I mean?
Yes, so, absolutely.
It's on every Saturday. It's great. It was a moneymaker back in the day, and I remember when community discount stores with Two-Ton Baker, Riverview, they used to promote it.
Yeah.
They used to have it on every Sunday. Flash Gordon Conquers the Universe.
And what about those great special effects on that old series with the spaceships?
For 1930-something,
yeah,
they were great.
They were.
They had the sparklers. They had the sparklers on the rocket ship. You had Captain Torch. You had Ming's guys. Ming wore the greatest clothes. I mean, if the NBA players really want to dress up, or if you want to look at, there's no doubt in my mind. If you've seen Elvis on stage, if you've seen any of the glitter that people bring, Liberace, watch Ming, and then look at Liberace's outfits. He copied Ming the Merciless, one of the top 15 villains of all time.
Look it up, people. Ming the Merciless, pretty incredible stuff.
Charles Middleton, one of my heroes, along with Hans from Die Hard, another top 15 villain. And then, of course, Samuel L. Jackson as Ordell Roby and Jackie Brown, ladies and gentlemen. Oh. If that guy was at my door, I'd have a coronary. That's just me.
I think we watched the same channels because I just saw that movie again recently. De Niro.
Oh, Jackie Brown is sensational.
It really
I talked
is.
to somebody the other day that didn't see it. I said, watch it. He watched it. Perfect, he said.
Yes, Jackie Brown, if you have not seen it, set aside 2.5 hours long because it's over 2 hours. And it's got a deliberate pace to it, but it is just mesmerizing. The performances are.
You got to watch it 3-4 times to catch everything. Right?
I agree with you. I agree. I enjoy it more and more every time I see it. I totally.
And
agree.
there's another thing. That's the strength of Quentin Tarantino. He took a lot of heat for putting the N-word in like 36, 40 times from Spike Lee, but he says, "I'm making it real." He made it real. Mm-hmm. Spike Lee couldn't hold Quentin Tarantino's microphone or whatever camera or whatever they want to talk about. I like Spike, but I'm sorry. This guy's on another level. And the cast that he gets, from Pam Grier to Robert De Niro, who plays Lewis, Bridget Fonda, probably one of the finest-looking women up on screen in that movie, who now has quit acting because of arthritic back and other difficulties. She was a stunner. Just a great movie. Michael Keaton, all those people. Wonderful.
Tell you what, Joe Mandel and Johnny the Tooch Santucci want to invite you on their podcast, which you can find on the network, Box Office Barflies, to talk about any movie of your choice, and they will happily have you on, hopefully in the near future, to talk about movies.
Anytime they want.
Yeah.
Tell them to go through you, though. I don't need any problems.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I mean, Tooch. I don't need Tooch. Tooch is a little hot with me right now. I can feel it. I love Dooch. I love Little Nicky.
Little Nicky is doing great. For those of you who want to know, I just talked to him recently. He's doing great, and you'll be hearing more from Little Nicky as he makes his way back to social media in a big way.
Wait, doing great. Where's he? Where's he at?
He just disappeared.
Where's he at? Iraq? Wait, doing great. Where was he?
I don't know where he was. He just disappeared for a while. It was like I don't know, maybe got
Little Nicky, Mr. Disappear. That's his new name.
Exactly. All right. I want to remind everyone that the latest and newest edition of Box Office Barflies is out on the network. They are reviewing Captain Marvel, and our man Sam Jackson is in Captain Marvel. So that's going to be a lot of fun to listen to that.
Comic book. I'm tired of it. Superman and Batman. Let's move on. Who's fighting for number 3?
Hey, Mike, I am a huge, huge fan of that last trilogy of Batman movies with, what was his name? Christian Bale as Batman. Did you see any of those?
Let me tell you something, pal. You and I have been friends for a while. There's only one Batman. His name's Michael Keaton, who everybody doubted. Everybody doubted him. And then I go, wait a minute, he's Mr. Mom.
Yeah.
I just saw him in Mr. Mom. Wait, how's he going to be? He's a comedian. This guy's funnier than hell. He's from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Another good athlete, too, by the way, Michael Keaton. He's been in comedies and everything else. Still, hands down, people to this day, even George Clooney, Val Kilmer, they can't beat Michael Keaton. And he was the guy that was doubted more than anybody. But in fairness, I haven't seen Christian Bale because I only see Christian Bale in movies he wants to be a fat slob in. So,
like Dick Cheney? No, I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
it's an American Hustle. Only if you're fat. I don't see him in his skinny movies. And you know what? To be honest with you, I'm not his biggest fan. That's all.
Yeah, Heidi Zimmerman agrees with you about Michael Keaton being the best Batman.
Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. Now, what did you think about
everybody at the time? Oh, they're making the wrong selection here. And I said, wow, they might be making the wrong selection here. Still the best Batman ever.
I agree. And yep. I got to finish with this. Oh, man, I just got a brain cramp.
That's okay. Take your time. Yeah. That's your 7th one. Don't worry about it. Well, let's see if we can get to 10.
I knew you were
counting. I'm just kidding you. You know that.
No, I'm thinking I got to get this out before the Harvard-Yale game, so we got to finish up pretty soon.
No. Yeah, seriously. The game starts in an hour and 45 minutes. We're going to get this sentence out soon.
Okay, yes, absolutely.
I'm looking forward to Gay of Hoops, though. I'm on fire. Just people, please, dear Lord.
I remember what I was going to ask
you.
Now
that I'm on my perch, I'm on the lifeguard chair looking down. I hope I'm not down in the water being saved by somebody in a rowboat. That's it. What was the last thing, my friend? I killed some time.
Adam West as Batman. Your thoughts?
Oh, God, do I love that man.
I know.
Just disregarded, treated like crap.
Yes.
Stereotype.
Yes.
He had about 3 good years. I saw the documentary.
Excellent.
I am Adam West. Have you seen it?
Yes, excellent documentary.
I mean, excellent. I even talked to the guy that's in it with him because he made it. And he's retired now, too. The guy that's in the doc with him was his manager. I love Adam West. I love that he ended up taking he caused his own problems, too, because he basically wanted to sort of shun the Batman thing, but the reason, because he wanted to do other things, but he was typecast. Then he decided to buy in with Batman. I think it was a smart thing, but there's no doubt he starved for a long, long time. And I think he was a better actor than that. I think he was capable. You saw Van Williams as the Green Hornet do other vehicles back in the day when you saw Bruce Lee go from Kato to an international film star, as far as Bruce Lee's concerned. So I just thought it was unfair what happened to Adam West.
Yeah, the name of the documentary is Starring Adam West. The director is James Tooley, T-O-O, not like Tooley High School, where I went to many years ago.
You went to Tooley?
I went to Tooley for a year or two, and then the new school, Roberto Clemente High School, opened up, so I did 2 and 2. And,
I remember.
And a little short stint at Sen High School in between schools.
You went to Sen?
I went to Sen for about 9 weeks. That's about how many classes I attended.
Yeah, we checked your papers. We shuffled you more. We shuffled you ahead. I got to be honest with you. Tooley High School, I met a girl in the at the Cub game.
Mm-hmm.
I was a bender. I was 16. She was like 15. And her name was Mary. And I was supposed to meet her a week later. gorgeous, stunning girl at Lincoln Park Zoo. We had no cell phones back then, nothing, you know. And I got sick, and I couldn't make it, but then I lost the number, and I've never seen her again. And you ever have that one girl you've always wondered what happened to her? She's the one. I wonder what happened to her. She went to Thule.
Mm-hmm. I think
you know her? Probably married to her.
I think I had sex with her. Just kidding.
No wonder she wanted no part of me. She kept mentioning a guy named the Cobra.
That's a good way to end the show, I think.
All right, brother. Good times.
I love you, Mike North. Go over your 3 games again for us because everybody's going to be calling their friend to lay a bet.
Cincinnati plus 4.5, Yale minus 4.5, and Michigan State minus 1. Good luck to everybody today, Aldo. A nice transition on Sunday. We had a lot of fun today. We'll be back tomorrow night at 7 o'clock.
All right, brother.
See you later, man.